season to get going, the first official Steelers Central season to get through. I mean, I think that we have a better shot than we did last year for sure. We had a lot of hope that things would be better, but I mean, in the back of your head, you got to think like what with Matt Canada as the coordinator not getting fired last offseason, it was all just like, how can this still be a thing? And then you watch the half the season transpire, and then you watch them fire the dude halfway through. So I feel like we're going into this season with a much better setup. I mean, we don't have a lot of questions answered yet. I mean, we still have to know if Arthur Smith's, schemes and his play calling is going to be better. We don't know yet. If we can't really determine that until we see a game. And guys like Jalen Warren, I mean, he's going to be in the game, but is he going to be 100%? I don't think so. But we have to rely on what this team is going to use that's positive. We're getting new guys. We have Russell Wilson. We have Justin Fields. But we still have Mike Tomlin, and his standard is the standard talk. I mean, I don't know if that is going to be cutting it anymore. I mean, we have a whole season to get through. And, yeah, guys like we just lost him for a month. Isaiah Salamalo, I mean, that right there is kind of tough to swallow because, again, that was a big part of the offensive line. I feel like every year we are going into the season with an injury to a guy. We have to wait till some point in the season. I get it. It's all part of the game. You can't control that stuff. But, of course, the big news is Brandon Aiyuk is not a Steeler. And I think we both knew this. Like, I think we both had that intuitiveness that was like they were just being used as a pawn to get Aiyuk's deal done from the 49ers. And it worked because he got his money. Now it's a question of can guys like, Jamar Chase, the other guy who's trying to get a good deal, like now everybody's going to be asking for 25, 30 plus, and it's going to be almost impossible for us to search for that next option. Now, if you want to tell me that Calvin Austin, that Van Jefferson, and Roman Wilson, if Roman Wilson can be a number 2, that would be fantastic. But you're asking a rookie to basically evolve 5 years into his process. That's going to be tough. So I know that they have a lot to maybe be positive with because Pat Freiermuth is going to be a huge part of the offense. I cannot wait to see what they do with him. That's going to be huge. For all we know, that's how they're going to use the WR2. They're going to use Pat. I mean, and rightfully so. People really do not give Pat the respect he really should get because we have yet to see the guy in an offense that kind of features tight ends and running backs. Like, that's really what this is all about. So, I mean, I feel like they are gearing towards that kind of game plan. So I feel like, yes, it sucks that Brandon Aiyuk is not a Steeler because that would have answered pretty much all of our problems. So in the end, we are going to go into the season without a WR2, but we do have the weapons. And again, it's all going to come down to Arthur Smith's play calling and what it's going to be for their whole season.
Yeah. Yeah. So we've got, Brandon Aiyuk, he basically used us to get the deal, which you said it sounded like he was going to do, and he did. But basically, 4-year, $120 million. I think CD Lamb got like 4-year, 136 or something like that. And then who else needs a deal now? Jamar Chase, you said, right?
I think I heard someone. I know it's somewhere in that wide receiving core. I know someone is like their contract is up by this year or next year or something, and they're going to be looking for some deal of that nature too. And yeah, this is now the thing. Paying your wide receivers 25, 30 million. I mean,
yeah, so, and I was going to say, it's definitely changed. I mean, I've been watching the NFL my whole life, and you pretty much have been too. And, these deals are pretty insane. This money is insane. You see these 4-year deals worth hundreds of millions of dollars because they know that that's how long they could last before they, the risk, there's less risk because the contract's shorter. But you see them offering more money because if they don't do it, then another team will. So like Big Ben, you got 10-year, 100 million. Now, if that were a deal today, it would be like 500 million, 700 million. And Big Ben would have gotten that money for sure. But these receivers now, they know that they can't really last that long. Like running backs, they don't last that long. So they're not going to give these guys like 8-year contracts because by that time they're like probably long tired. But yeah, so the deal that they had on the table, it was okay. So Albert Breer said this scenario, as I understand it, would have had the 49ers landing a second and third round picks from Pittsburgh for Brandon Aiyuk, which would have been fine with me. Flipping the 3 to Denver. The Steelers didn't want to part with a player for Aiyuk. All's well that ends well. Keeping Aiyuk was always San Francisco's presence. So they basically wanted Cortland Sutton in a three-way deal. The Niners did. The Steelers didn't.
I did know this, yeah.
So who would they said they didn't want to part with a player. Oh, that's why they were involving Denver. So I guess that's why that whole thing was going on like that. But yeah, that makes sense. I guess, yeah, we definitely don't want to get rid of any players. We can't afford to.
No.
But I think that would have been a good overall deal for everyone. Cortland Sutton, I think, would have been a good fit in San Fran. I mean, they have enough weapons. Now, I kind of hope it comes back to bite them now, like they don't make the NFC title game or the Super Bowl, because they probably could have had a fresher body in there than Aiyuk, and we really needed, a fresher body. Now, during the season, I think we're going to see a receiver come through, like DK or Cortland, whoever.
Mm-hmm.
They can certainly get a serviceable receiver that doesn't have to be a star, but that'd be cool to get DK. I think he'd be a good fit. He's a huge guy. But yeah, overall, you're seeing this higher money because this is the new NFL. Like Jordan Love, he got what, 400 million for 4 years or something like that, something ridiculous, 200 million, and that's a ton of money for 4 years. But again, like most other players, they're getting this money for in a short amount of time because that's pretty much what their max value is for the years that they're probably going to be there. So that's why, like with Patrick Mahomes, he's an anomaly. They gave him like 7 years, 500 million or something like that, or maybe it's 10 years because they knew he was like going to be winning them Super Bowls. He won them 2 more, I think, after that, and I think he lost 1 and won 2 more after that deal. Now, a lot of the times, like Joe Flacco, he got like 120 million back in the day, and he was horrible after that. Big Ben, he was good all the way up until the end. Could have gone to a couple Super Bowls after his contract. They didn't, unfortunately, but that's why you see this. That's why you see this like 100 million a year contract, because realistically in the NFL, it stands for not for long. You're not going to last. No one's going to last. I mean, look at Julio Jones, for example. I was just thinking about him the other day. Like mid 2010s, he was like at the prime of his career, like the best receiver, one of the best ever. And now I don't even know what team he's on. Same with Jadeveon Clowney. I mean, he was always hurt, but he was at the prime of his career when he was a rookie and like a couple years in, and now I think he's on the Panthers now. I mean, these guys just kind of get pushed around. Peterson, our safety from last year, he's a Hall of Famer in my opinion, and he was like a liability on our team last year. It wasn't that good. So you